Shutters are considered low-hanging fruit when it comes to adding a splash of color or curb appeal to a home. And DIY repair, doing it yourself to fix rotted wood shutters, can save you money, but it's not always worth doing. Considering repairing versus replacement, the answer lies somewhere between how much rot there is and how much time it's going to take to repair it. And if you're a DIYer, it's almost always worth fixing things to save you money. But if you're paying a carpenter $50 or $75 an hour, then that's a different story. Repairing a shutter in decent shape can also save a lot of time prepping and painting. If a shutter is not high quality, not a high quality shutter, for instance, it's not made from cedar, it doesn't have quality mortise and tenon joinery, then I would have a carpenter spend no more than 1 hour per shutter on a repair. Otherwise, it's not worth it. If the repair goes over an hour, you need to consider replacement. Replacement prices range from $100 from basswood and pine shutters that are primed to $200 plus shutters for custom cedar mortise and tenon shutters, quality shutters. Shutter materials, let's talk about the best shutter material. When replacing shutters, you want to use vertical grain red cedar shutters. You want to avoid finger jointed joints, anything that has finger joints. You want to make sure that the shutters have quality joinery. Mortise and tenon joinery is the best way to go. It's the strongest and most durable, and it will stand the test of time. Here are 4 steps on how to repair an exterior window shutter that is in good shape, just needs a little bit of repair. This shutter had rot in the middle of the connecting rail, and we're going to focus on replacing that rail. 4 steps. Step 1 was to remove the rail, and that means that we had to locate and remove the middle screws connecting the rail. And to do that, basically, there are screws running through the long section of the stiles of this shutter, and we had to expose them, and they had wood plugs protecting and hiding the screws. In order to get the wood plug out and expose the screw, I took a 3/16 drill bit and drilled out the plug. That simply created a little hole or an opening for me to get a little chisel or a pry bar or a utility knife or something in there. I used a nail punch in the end to pry out that dowel, that little plug, wood plug. Once the plug was removed, I can then use just a screwdriver or a screw gun and remove the screw. Step 2 is making the new rail, and I used 2x6 cedar and as a replacement rail. Cedar is inherently rot and insect resistant, and a table saw is the best tool to size the new cedar board. On the table saw, I basically cut the cedar board to size the exact width of the rotted board, and then I flipped it over on its edge and cut it to the same thickness to match. We're looking for exact sizes here to duplicate dimensions. Here's a tip. I don't measure when I'm cutting, ripping on the table saw. I simply take the old board, place it up against the saw blade, which is just above the wood I'm cutting, slide my fence up till it gently touches the wood, lock it down, remove the old board, and then make my cut with the new board. And I can do that on both sides, both width and thickness. When I'm done with that, I take the wood to the miter saw, I square one edge, and then I mark or measure my length, and I make that cut. Step 3 would be to prime the end grains. I prime all exposed wood end grains on the stile rails as well as on the new middle rail. End grain wicks moisture faster than any other part of a board. And that's why the middle rail rotted. Water must have got in there and sat on the flat surfaces and basically rotted that end grain. By sealing and back priming all of our wood trim, we're giving it a better chance to endure the elements. And we're going to slow that water infiltration. Step 4 is to fasten the middle rail into place. Now, the old rail had wood dowels, one wood dowel to align it, and then 2 screws, one on either side, holding it together. The wood dowels rotted away when the end grain rotted. So I decided, instead of trying to put a lot of effort and time into this, I would just use 2 screws per side. So I spaced the screws out. I used the original hole and I spaced out the other screw, pre-drilled and countersunk my screws. And I countersink to accept wood plugs because filling holes with wood plugs is way better than using wood putty. And here's a tip too, guys. A wood clamp is useful for holding everything together while you're doing all this stuff. But remember, the wood plugs, they're going to last longer than wood putty and they're going to look better. If you're looking to make a long-term repair, you probably want to purchase a countersink and a wood plug cutter to do this repair. Step 4 is paint preparation. Once everything is done, I use sandpaper and I break all the edges of the cedar, and I round them over. And I do this so that it takes paint better, and it's no sharp edges. A coat of primer on all the bare wood, and then I would top coat everything. Probably top coat the repair, and then top coat the whole shutter and give it a good quality top coat. This is a quick way to do a fast repair on a shutter that needs a little bit of TLC. If the rot is more invasive than that, you're probably going to want to replace that shutter. I'm Rob Robillard. Please consider subscribing to this channel, and we'll see you next time. Take care.